Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Blossom Interviews. My name is Donna Abraham. This show is about the unknown woman rising in her calling, and it's about women for women. It doesn't matter what stage you're at in your life, there's always hope, encouragement, and hopefully something to inspire you to step out and do what you've been wanting to do. Today, I'm really excited to introduce to you my friend and special guest, Kellie Holbeche. She's the Director of Iris Cambodia and the founder of the Mission Worldwide. These are organizations that are fighting to stop the cycle of sex trafficking of children and adults. And she's a mother and a wife and has 3 beautiful children. And it's such an honor to have you here with me. Kellie, you have quite an interesting story. And tell me about how your vision was cast for your journey, and tell me a little bit about, I think you had a dream or something.
Yes, it all started with a dream. I finished mission school in Mozambique, Africa, with Heidi Baker. They run an incredible mission school, just helping to equip people to go out and go to those places that they've always wanted to go to and do something impactful. And so we finished that, came back, and my husband went to plant another mission school near the border of Chechnya. And in the middle of that process, I went to bed regular night and fell asleep and had this horrific nightmare. And in this dream, I woke up in Southeast Asia, and I just knew that's where I was, and had this sense that that's what was happening in the dream. And I was in grass fields and I could see palm trees, and I was walking through and I came to a village, but it wasn't a regular village. There was something wrong and something amiss, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And I just felt like I should just go and look in a house and be like, hello, I need some help, I'm lost, that kind of feeling. And I went in and I looked inside and I just saw men raping children. And you sort of jump back and you're like, what is happening? I need to wake up. And I was trying to almost like pinch myself in my sleep to wake up, because it was so horrific. And, when you have dreams like that, you're like, why on earth am I dreaming this? This is weird. And it doesn't make sense. And it's not anything to do with my life. And so it was kind of traumatic. And I thought to myself, well, what do I need to do? And suddenly these children saw me and were just running out of these buildings to me and just shouting, Mama, Mama. And they were jumping on me, and I didn't know what to do. So I just started walking, and we walked through these weird community after weird community. And I would find these brothels with children in them, and they would come and we would carry one another, and teenagers were carrying 5-year-olds, and some 5-year-olds were carrying babies, and that was how it started. And eventually, it had been days in this dream, and eventually I found that I had over 1,000 children walking behind me, and we were singing and singing and chanting and just walking to find somewhere safe to stay. And then some of the men came and were trying to shoot weapons, and some children got recaptured, some children got hurt, and then there was an urgency to find this safe place. And so in the dream, we came to the bottom of a mountain, and the men were coming, and more children were getting snatched back. And this, justice cry in me rose up of, why is this happening? All these children didn't come out to go straight back into it. I'm not doing this for nothing, and it was like this is not right. This needs to change. This needs to stop. And I just cried out to God and was like, what am I doing here with all these kids if they're just going to get taken back? What is the point? And he just said, look to the mountain. And I'm like, yes, it's a mountain. I was getting so frustrated because literally minute by minute, more and more kids were getting taken. And the mountain opened up, and we went into the mountain, and the mountain shut. And within that mountain, there was just blackness, and children were crying. They were afraid because of what they've come out of. And had
you heard about sex trafficking prior to that? Okay.
No. Wow. And so I didn't understand, while I'm dreaming the dream, I don't understand it.
Okay.
And in the midst of the mountain, it just lit up, and there was a feasting table, and it was more food than these kids could ever imagine. And I always relate it to the movie Hook, when Captain Hook puts on the big feast for the Lost Boys. And so I was looking and I was thinking, gosh, these are like the lost children. And I found them, and now I don't know what to do with them, and I'm stuck in a mountain in this weird dream that I can't get out of. And I could hear trucks driving around looking for them, shouting, yelling. And then the mountain opened up, and God literally said, go and find your safe place. Wow. And we left, and I woke up, and even though I felt God speak to me in the dream, it was still very much a nightmare, and I was covered in sweat, and I was just like, okay, God, take that dream away from me. I don't want to dream dreams like that. That was horrific. And he just said, no, it was me. And I'm like, what? Well, what am I going to do with that, Right. That's the next question, right? What do you do with that?
Exactly. What did you do that? I mean, how did you walk out that vision?
So I started Googling what was happening in Southeast Asia, and looking at brothels in Southeast Asia and children, and I thought, I hope I don't get in trouble, for searching these things, because I didn't know.
Because you could, yeah.
I didn't know it was a thing, you know, and I was like, what is this? And it just came up like human trafficking, child trafficking.
Okay. And when was that? How long ago was that?
That was in 2007.
Okay.
And the
world really didn't know
didn't know anything. No.
Human trafficking to the extent that they do now back then.
It wasn't a buzzword. It wasn't something that's really popular. It was something that was very much hidden and very much despised and disgusted and very much in that hidden dark world. But now we've really brought it into the light. With all the justice movement that's happening today, which is amazing, because things get exposed and we can really step in and do something.
Yes. So what was the preparation time for you? Did you go, okay, I've been given this dream, do research, and you jumped right into it? Or what was the process for you in preparation? Was it short, long?
Yeah, it was a mix of both, really. Because obviously, to start, we went out to Southeast Asia and we traveled the lands there, just looking, researching, trying to learn as much as we could to really understand what was happening and really be able to connect with some really amazing organizations, so that we're not just walking in going, we're going to do something and make all the mistakes that everyone else has had. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to learn from people that have been there many years and have seen this and are doing something incredible. So we just traveled around 3 or 4 months, really just learning, and we sat in on some training and some courses, and then when we landed in Cambodia, that's when I knew. Okay,
that's what I was going to ask. So why Cambodia? Because it's all through Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
You just had a knowing in yourself.
When we landed there, the first night we got there, I literally felt like we were in Bangkok first, and then we flew over to Phnom Penh. And I felt like we landed in the middle of Africa. There was dirt roads, there was rats everywhere, and just covered in trash. And it was really gross, like, being honest. Very different now. But we went down to the coastal town of Scenicville, and we just saw it. We just saw men taking 5 little street kids into a massage parlor. We saw them taking little girls into hotel rooms, and an hour later they were coming out and being picked up by their carer or pimp or whatever word people want to use. And we were just sitting there having dinner. That's how obvious it was. And I just said in that moment, I cannot go home knowing that this is happening right there in front of us. And there's not enough hands to help. So we wanted to do something.
And so were you afraid? Were you ever afraid?
Yeah, many times.
And how did you deal with that fear?
A lot of prayer. Whenever you're stepping into something new, there's always fear. There's always the fear of the unknown, and I think that was massive for us because my background is not anti-trafficking, because those degrees and things are only new, and all the education that's coming out about it now is new. It's recent years, and so back then I came out of arts uni, and just people are saying, "What's your qualification? Are you a social worker? Are you this?" And I'm like, no, I felt underqualified. So one of my fears was am I just completely underqualified for this, and should I be doing it? And so I think for me, combating that fear was just making sure I knew my field of work.
Yeah.
And just really researching and learning as much as I could. Yeah.
So did you ever feel like your personal security was at risk?
Yeah, very much so. We have many moments where...
Do you have a story that you can tell us about, anything specific?
Yeah, in 2009, I think I have to think back now, but it's getting a long time ago. But yeah, nearly 10 years ago, my goodness. But my husband was investigating some mafia that were involved in a certain area, and I was out to dinner. I obviously couldn't go because it was too dangerous, but I was having dinner with a friend. And
you weren't living there at the time?
No, we were just going in and out at this time.
Sort of investigating?
Yeah,
okay.
Just investigative.
Yeah.
We would do 3 to 6 months at a time, helping aid investigations with other organizations so we could learn. And then we would withdraw. So we were going deep in undercover and getting really exposed, and then we would pull out and take 6 months to just let things settle,
right.
Let court cases happen and different things.
Okay.
So in the midst of this investigation, we finished dinner and we're walking along not a back street, but it was definitely a quieter street than normal. In sunset time, it wasn't necessarily a dangerous time of the day, and I thought these guys were drunk and had drank too much and were on their motorbike falling on me. And so I was being really kind and tried to help, like, push them up. And they saw my hands and they just grabbed me and flipped me over the back of the motorbike and just took off. And my friend, all I saw was concrete going by really fast, and saw my friend running up the street screaming.
Wow.
And it was in that moment, you're terribly afraid because you know the stories of the girls and you know what happens to them. And I just thought to myself, if these are traffickers or pimps that we've agitated or annoyed, this could be my last moments of my life.
Wow.
And so I didn't know what to do. I had someone sitting on me, so my hair was almost going in the tires, and you're just looking at an exhaust and concrete, and I'm just like, Jesus, what do I do? I don't know what to do, because if you don't step in, I'm gonna die. I know it. And he just said, get off the bike. And I just laughed. I'm like, what do you mean get off the bike? That's ridiculous. Like, that's not something you say to someone that's being kidnapped.
Not really. It's like because you're flying down the road.
Right. And so he just said, get off the bike now. You need to get off the bike now. And so I was like, okay, well, obviously you're going to make something happen. And all I remember is just kind of moving my shoulder as if I was going to just roll off the back of the bike, knowing that really wasn't going to happen in my mind.
Right.
But I really believed God was going to do something, and I did. The next minute I just know I'm rolling off the back of the bike, and it was like slow motion. The guy grabbed my handbag, and how I still had my handbag I don't actually know, but he grabbed my handbag and my arm was trapped in the strap. And so I had to grab it, and I'm skiing up the road in my flip-flops off the back of this bike, just screaming for help. And I knew I was looking at the road, and I'm looking at the man holding my bag, and I'm just thinking, I don't know what to do. If I let go, I'm going to get hurt. If I hold on, I'm going to get hurt. I don't know what to do. And I'm stuck. It was like wrapped around. And God literally just spoke to me and said, put your feet down. I'm like, my feet are on the ground. It's one of those weird conversations with God where I'm just like, none of that makes sense. But I went, okay. So I leant back, and my feet literally stuck to the ground like glue. No joke, like glue. And these two guys flipped off their motorbike from the friction of the pull of my handbag. Wow. It flipped because the guy was holding the guy like this around the back and holding me. And so the jolt in it flipped them, and they skidded up the street, and I just turned about and I was running the other way. But it was like I was running through treacle. I know I was running fast, but all I could hear was my own breath. And I felt like I was running in slow motion. I literally was like, run faster. Like, that's all I was thinking to myself, like, why are you not moving faster? And I could hear footsteps coming behind me, and I turned to look to see if it was them, and all I remember was getting a beautiful roundhouse kick to the face. But he was far, but he flew. Literally, I turned around and I could see his leg flying through the air, and he just kicked me in the face. And I've never seen stars before, and I thought it was just saying, if you banged your head too hard, you would maybe feel a bit like dizzy. But I actually saw sparkly stars. That's how hard he hit me in the face.
Goodness.
And I just felt blood dripping out. And he kicked me again three or four times. Yeah, he was so mad. He kicked me 3 or 4 times, and I didn't even know if I had teeth. It was not a pleasant experience and very scary. And I'm just trying to stay up at this point, because I know if I fall down, they're going to rape me, they're going to kill me, they'll put me back on the bike. And I was just wobbling all over the street, trying to keep some sort of, composure.
And this wasn't a quiet street. There were other people on the street.
There were people there, and
nobody was helping you.
No, nobody helped me. And they were watching with beers and smoking joints and just Partyville, and they were like, "Whoa, look at that girl." It was like it wasn't real to them, but for me it was
unbelievable.
Awful.
Unbelievable.
And a security guard came out, and he had a little wand and a whistle, and all he did was like go, ooh, ooh, like just standing beside them, waving his little orange wand. And he was too afraid, because he saw what they were doing to me.
Okay.
And I literally was like, I have to fight back. I have to fight back. And I just heard God say again, if you don't fight, you're going to die. And I was like, but I can't even see. Like, I literally can't even see. And I was just spitting blood. And so I just started screaming, like, with anger. I was so angry at this point, and I think fear had kind of left, and I just screamed, and I just roared at them. I was
going to say, you put your roar on.
I was just and I roared at them, and they literally stopped and looked at me, and the second guy just came and just went to swing a punch at me, and I started swinging my handbag. I was like, I've still got this. I'm going to use it as a weapon. I swung my handbag, I punched, I kicked, I did whatever I could, and then I got another kick to the head, and I ended up in a ditch on a pile of bricks and rocks, and I punctured my backside, and I had a puncture in my knee. I had split my elbow open and split the back of my head open, and I knew I couldn't move. I was like, I can't do it anymore. And
so did they think you were dead?
No, they could say, like, I was just lying there, just my eyes open, just tears coming out, and they just stood over me and were just chatting, just talking. Like, what are we going to do with her? What will we do? Just so casual. And I remember it so clearly, just thinking, this isn't a big deal to you. You're just going to do whatever with me. And I felt my hand. I felt I still had my handbag. And I said, oh, here, just take my bag. It's got phones. It's got my passport. It's got money. It's got camera. Like, it's got tons of stuff in there. Just take it. Just go. Like, leave me alone. Like, people are coming. And I just made them think people were coming. And they still really slowly took my bag and just looked inside it, saw there was money and phones, like I had said. And then they just walked all the way up the street, past everyone.
And still nobody came.
No one did anything. Picked up their bike, checked their bike, got on the bike, drove by, just so slow. And by this stage, a young man, God bless him, came to help me get up out of the ditch. And
a local man?
No, an Englishman actually. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's like, I saw the whole thing. No, he shouldn't have said that. Because obviously,
no kidding.
You're covered in blood. You've just been attacked, and you're just like, you saw the whole thing and you did nothing. Yeah. And he got a bit of a, what kind of a man are you conversation from me, which I apologized to him at the end, because I was like, it's not just you. There's many, many men standing there that could have done something. Yeah. And I was standing there really dazed, just bleeding, and I had one of my flip-flops was missing, and that's what made me cry. that moment of, how am I going to walk without my shoe? And it was the most ridiculous thing, but that's the thing that broke me, and then I just cried and was just like, I don't even know what's just happened to me, and I'm just really thankful to be alive.
Yeah.
So I went to the police station, and it was a very interesting encounter, and they told me that they were probably from another city and they were probably never going to catch them, and thanks for stopping by, I hope you're going to do okay.
They didn't want to get involved and didn't really offer you any help.
No, and they would have potentially known who they were, I don't know, but it was
and after
scary.
all of that, you still felt the call and still felt pulled to carry on with the vision and the dream that God gave you.
Yeah, I mean, my husband sat me down. He was like, "We're leaving. We're going. This is it. Like, we are not staying here." And I was like, "No, this is what God has spoken to me about and to you. And if the enemy thinks that two little guys on a motorbike are going to stop me, then he's got another thing coming." And I said to him, "I actually need to go back to the spot, like right now." And I hobbled up the street, and he was like, "I'll stand far behind you, but I'm coming." I was like, "No, I don't want anybody there."
Yeah.
And every time a motorbike passed me whilst I was walking there, I mean, I shuddered, and I knew if I don't go there right now and deal with this, I'm going to have so much fear for the rest of my life.
So you decided to face your fear right then and there.
So I faced it in there the next day, and I just stood there and I just declared the scripture, like, I have a sound mind, I don't have fear, I have peace. And declaring Psalm 91, declaring all my favorite scriptures, and I just stood there and did that, and the fear just left. And I said, right, we're going to the area where all the girls are, and we were working with many minors at that point, and I said, I'm going to just go and say goodbye to them, because I knew we were leaving in a few days anyway.
Right.
We were moving to another area.
Okay.
So I went down to see them, and they came running up the beach like, Mama Kellie, what? And I sat down with them, bought them all Coke and bought them some rice, and they're like, how are you still alive? Like, what do you mean? I'm trying to pretend nothing happened.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, how are you still alive? You should be dead. I'm like, what do you mean I should be dead? How do you know? Who was it? You know what happened to me? And they were like, yeah. And then they sort of went really quiet. And this little 8-year-old girl that I had just taken under my wing and fallen in love with, she called me Mama every time I was with her. And she said, I'm so mad they did that to you. How dare they do that to my mama? You are the nicest lady. And she said, and they had a knife and they were going to slit your throat.
So they kind of knew the pattern that these men would, the things that they would carry out. Obviously, it's happened many times before.
Yeah. And she said, if you hadn't have screamed at them, they said that when you screamed at them, it made them think you were demon possessed.
Oh, really?
And they were terrified of me, and that's what scared them and made them decide to not, when they were obviously talking over me, decide to not kill me.
Wow.
Because they were scared that
they were superstitious.
It would chase them. Yeah. Asian
superstition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It's a real thing for them. So, yeah, we went to the clinic and got all cleaned up and faced my fear, and I said, I'm not leaving.
Right. So how long after that before you decided as a couple that you were moving back and going to permanently set up and stay and continue on with what you were doing?
Yeah. So we were in the UK, living in Northern Ireland for many years, but then with going in and out, we were blessed with a farmhouse to stay in, and we were able to kind of come in and out, and we really felt like the time is coming soon where we should really plant some roots and start establishing something. So we ran an Iris alumni 2-week team to see anyone who feels called to trafficking, anyone who feels called to Cambodia can come and experience what it will be like to plant a base there, to live life there.
Okay.
And so we did that after about 4 years of us going in and out. And we established a team of 21 off the start. It was just 21 people were in, and within that we served other organizations for 2 years, learning from them, learning how to set up clinics, learning how to run aftercare programs, counseling, everything that we thought we might need to know. We spent 2 years serving, and then after those 2 years we established our first project.
And so who goes to the brothels?
Me. I didn't stop. After that, I didn't stop. It's my favorite thing to do. I literally love it. They are my girls, and some of them have become dear friends. And so it's just my passion. So I go in with a team, and we have quite an amazing team of fearless women that come in. We don't have any guys yet, but we have lots of beautiful, fearless women that come in with me, and we stay out till 2-3 in the morning or later if we need to, and literally love on these girls and meet with them, take them out for dinner. Sometimes we pay their fees and take them out for the evening. Depends on just what the feeling is for the night, or how much they need to talk and get out. So.
And so what is the government doing, just to touch on that? Are you working closely with them in changing some of the things that are going on in Cambodia?
Yeah. I mean, obviously Cambodia is a tier 2 country, so they are really trying to work hard to upgrade their level and upgrade their tier. And so over the last few years, they've done a lot of training with the police and a lot of training on the borders and different things to try and make Cambodia a safer country as far as trafficking. But for us, we work really closely with them in some of the ministries inside of the government, and they are really passionate about seeing children rescued and placed, and really passionate about seeing them stay with their families too, which is really important to us also, but obviously not every case, it's not always possible. But yes, they're doing a lot, and we work every single case we work with them on, and it's always
Which is really
working
amazing.
Relationship.
And you really can't do it without them, can you?
We can't. We can't do anything without them, because they know their country, they know what their people need, and so we want to listen to and honor and respect them as to how to move forward with certain things. So
how do you juggle your family life with, all of this, and the fact that, what you're doing is a 24/7, 7 days a week, because there's so much going on in so many different areas. So how do you juggle all of that?
I try. I think that's all I can say is I try my best to always put my family first, above a phone call, above a case, because I want my kids to know that they mean more to me than work. And my calling, they are the first calling in my life. And so I finish work by 4, so I'm home to pick them up from school. And if I have to work after they're in bed, that's okay. But while I'm with them, they have my full,
you're truly present,
undivided attention. And then at the weekends, it's only an emergency basis, and so we try and switch off and go do something and spend a lot of time with them. And really, I call it being present and really intentional parenting, because it would be very easy for me to just be on demand all the time and just expect them to pick up. When I'm not there, and that's not going to raise healthy children. So how do you support yourself and the mission? Because obviously when you're doing this, so how do you do that? How do you guys do that? We've started off faith-based, and people have just really kindly and generously supported me and my husband over the years. And so when just people hear about what we do, then they ask if they can help support our family, or contribute towards schooling and different things like that, and what needs do we have. And
so people watching this clip, is there a website that they can go to give, or how can they get a hold of you if they say, if it's something here that people go, I want to do something for them? How can they do that?
So we have two ways. If people want to support our family, then people can give at irisglobal.com, I think they are, and they can look up Kellie Holbeche, and then they can give under that. They give all personally to missionaries, which is really great, and we get a lot of our support through that method. And then for our organization, you can give via www.themissionworldwide.org, and that's our UK-based giving. And then we also have www.iriscambodia.org, and people can give through that as well. We have more international giving on that page. So
So do you have an encouraging piece of wisdom for any woman that's been thinking about something that they've been wanting to do, or been inspired by something today that you've said, because a woman, a wife, a mother, and you're doing incredible things? What would be a piece of wisdom that you would give to them in pursuing their vision?
Yeah, I think if you have something that is on your heart, something that has been really close to you that you wanted to do for years to help people, or just in your own life or for your own family, I think my one piece of advice is don't let fear stop you. Don't let yourself stop you. I think one of the biggest reasons why we don't do something is because of ourselves. And so my encouragement is just to step out, just push doors, just see what opens, and just trust that it's going to work out, and trust that you've heard God, and trust that He's going to move and do something for you.
I love that, because I think fear is one of the biggest things that holds people back. And if you can face that and keep going, I think that's amazing. And so what does it mean to you to blossom?
To blossom, for me, to blossom is to know who you are. To know who you are as a woman, and to be confident in that. And because only then can you really truly express yourself, and express who you are, and express to others around them how they can be, and to be more confident. And I think for me, every day I'm just telling women how beautiful they are and how important they are, even if they don't value themselves. And so for me, to watch women blossom is really incredible. And so to just speak life over, your girlfriends and people that you meet every day, people that inspire you, people that you love, just tell them how incredible they are. Tell them how much you value them, because it encourages other people to blossom as well. And that saying, we don't tear each other down, we see that your crown's fallen and we fix it. And so I always feel like women should be like that for each other. And it's like, let's not tear each other down. Let's encourage each other to grow, and be fearless and courageous, and to make change. And so for me, that's really what blossoming is, just identity, and just calling it out in other people.
Love it. So one last thing, when I woke up this morning, I thought of you, and I had a word, and I felt that you're like a Lara Croft, and from the movie Tomb Raider, and I'm sure everyone has seen the Tomb Raider,
Yes. And filmed in Cambodia. Yeah, it's true.
But I really felt that you're like a Lara Croft, because it reminded me that what you're doing is rescuing the real treasures from darkness, which are the children and the adults that otherwise would be lost, and that their lives would be destroyed. And so I just thought that was really just kind of an amazing word that God dropped into my heart. And you're so courageous and brave, and you love adventure, and I just think just the whole vision that He's placed in your life is an amazing legacy for you that you're building, and that you will leave someday. And stuff. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your story and your vision. And with that, until next time, thank you for watching Blossom Interviews.